I'd love to ask you just a little bit kind of how you got involved with this project. You've obviously worked with Paul Thomas Anderson before on Licorice Pizza, but at what point did you kind of get involved with One Battle After Another as an editor, and what kind of made you the most excited to like get into this project?
Well, I guess I probably read the script, I think in like 2023 or early 2023. Um, and it's something that he has been kind of percolating for a while. I didn't really know about it, but it's something just he's been kind of trying to write for a while. Um, and I've now worked with him for 12 years. Started as an assistant editor on Inherent Vice, and kind of like worked on on a bunch of stuff. And he's been really great to um, you know ask me to cut like music videos and little documentaries for him. And I was thrilled when he asked me to do Licorice Pizza. So um, I just got lucky, and he asked me to do this one. So I was involved when we started doing screen tests, um, both to test the VistaVision cameras because he always wanted to do this movie in VistaVision. That was kind of an idea, um, and kind of frame it so that we could do IMAX. Um, but we also were doing screen tests for Willa. So we did. I think there were like three different actresses that we auditioned with Leo, and so I kind of was starting to get involved at that point. And we were just watching, and obviously Chase was great, and she ended up being perfect for the role. Um, so yeah, and then I kind of was starting out to like because we're needing to figure out the workflow of how this was going to work with the VistaVision and being Paul is very much a fan of like photochemical finishing and cutting negative and the whole theatrical experience of being on film. And because we were shooting VistaVision, we had to figure out like how we were going to do that because it has not been done in 65 years,
Right.
and with the labs and everything. So like that's when I started getting involved, and then we started shooting January 2 years ago or something like that, 2024, I guess. January 2024. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I was traveling with them uh, in the production, and we were having daily screenings and watching footage, and I was there, just starting to piece the movie together.
Mm, sure. Totally. That's awesome. I love how it all turned out like that. And there are so many moments in One Battle After Another that I love. One of them that we all love is obviously that whole car chase in the third act of the movie. I mean, it's just so intense and so exciting to watch. And I do think a lot of that is because of the editing and the work on that you do in it, just because the hills and cutting back and forth and all that. So can you just tell me a little bit about like kind of working on that whole moment? Like, there's so many incredible things in there. How did you kind of go about tackling that in the editing room?
Well, we had a lot of footage, I mean, I will say. So, what I started doing was piecing together kind of the different perspectives, kind of in front of each of the cars and behind, and kind of made string outs of all, rear view mirror shots and everything that we had kind of had. Because we had an opportunity later in the schedule to go back to the location in order to kind of pick up shots that we had missed, or to kind of, I was telling someone earlier, it's like you kind of can plan it somewhat, but you kind of just have to see what you get because there's so many elements involved with the way the cars move up and down and the hills and which hills it is and the lighting, and you kind of have to just see like what happy accidents like occur, and then kind of pull those bits out and say, okay, these are the little sections that we're using, and then figure out, okay, what are the few things that we still need. So
Yeah.
that kind of is what we were doing. Um, and I was, it started out really long, just kind of the best bits. And then because you just start whittling it down, and we sent it to the sound department kind of early so that we could just kind of get a sense of what they how they could augment the sound, for the different cars and kind of the ups and downs. It's like because I could only do so much in Avid. It kind of they have their arsenal. They have so much stuff. So then from there, I'm able to kind of like whittle it down and still use their sound effects just to just get a better idea. And then we added Johnny's music. So then there was that we were playing with as well. And Johnny was sending additional sort of stems, or like layers of the music, like kind of the like up and down strings.
Yeah.
So then we could like figure out like where we were going to put those. So it just was, an evolution, and, went through hundreds of versions probably. And, we were just trying anything, even at the final mix of anything just to kind of create these peaks and valleys.
Yeah.
Because if it's going just like 100 miles per hour the whole time, it's not going to be as effective. So you kind of have to have moments where like the sound and the music goes down and then like heighten it up again. So that was like kind of the dance of the final sequence.
Yeah, totally. And again, how amazing it turned out. I will never forget sitting in the theater seeing that for the first time, just feeling like I am on a roller coaster and this is wild.
Well, thank you. Good. Mission accomplished.
Yeah. Another sequence in this movie that I'm really dying to ask you about because I love it so much is everything that just kind of takes place in Sensei's apartment. Because there's so much happening during all of those scenes. I mean, there's all the cuts of Leo and Benicio leaving the building with the soldiers coming in, then all that happens on the roof. I mean, it's a long, long sequence, but like it moves so quick and it's so exciting. So was that like a particularly challenging moment to kind of cut together, like as an editor? And what was like the process of working on that one like?
Gosh, I mean, we just had such good footage there. And it kind of that set, we kind of were able to take control of like downtown El Paso. And so what was so great about that is like the downstairs where the perfume shop is really connected to upstairs where Sensei's apartment is and where all those stairs are and everything. So it's, sometimes it's hard when you're piecing together like different locations because you're like you have to be aware of, oh, that's like a fake wall or whatever it is. So the camera was really able to move around so much sort of in this set. So that was fun. It's just you're able to use the momentum of just the energy of the actors and of the camera just to kind of like keep things moving. So the challenge and the fun of that was kind of figuring out the spots where we were going to cross cut, to from the soldiers to them upstairs, trying to rush to get out, and then gathering all the immigrants, and so it's like you kind of try to figure out, okay, if it's a sort of a triangle of the different locations, like how do we time it all out so that he goes down the hatch right as the soldiers are coming around the corner. So you're just kind of trying to move little pieces around to make things happen to be like the most exciting kind of climax as possible. So it seems like they just like miss each other.
Yeah.
Um, and then just the energy of the music, and we just, and even just the sounds that were captured on set, all the like running around and the doors and the just all that stuff adds like a really nice texture to the whole entire sequence, and the cars and the skateboarders and all that stuff. It just really like helps the energy of the scene.
Yeah. I love the skateboarders. They were my favorite.
And they
Love
were real skateboarders too. They were so fun. They were great.
it. That's awesome.